I love that official sounding voice. That's always like, ta-da, this meeting's being recorded. Welcome everybody. And thank you for joining us to Transitions 2021. We're really excited to be here. Sam is from the Space Makers, and I sell houses and do that kind of thing. And so tonight, for the next hour, we're going to talk about organization first with Sam and how she does it and what she does and what she recommends. Then we'll get into some real estate at the end. What's happening with the market right now, busy, multiple offers, and all those kind of things. But first, it's my pleasure to kick off tonight with Samantha from the Space Makers. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about who you are?
Will do. Shall I share my screen here? Okay. Let's see. How's that looking?
That's looked great. We are ready to go.
Awesome. Okay, well, thanks for coming, everyone. This is super exciting. My name is Sam. I'm one half of the Space Makers, and we are professional organizers. And we are, there we go. I'm just getting my comments up here. Technical difficulties. We are obsessed with making space, as you can tell here. So I am one half of the Space Makers. My business partner, Angela, she's pictured here. She unfortunately couldn't be here today because she has recently welcomed her beautiful baby boy to the world. So welcome, Luke Patrick Fitzgerald. Congratulations to Ange and her husband. Pretty amazing. So we're very excited for them. She wishes she could be here, but she'll catch us on the next one, that's for sure. So we love the format of this. Ian and Ian's team, you guys did a great job with this, calling it a watch party. We've all been to enough webinars and meetings that it's nice to have a different spin on it. So it's been one of those years. So grab a snack. We're just gonna have some fun with this. And yeah, let's get right into it. So our mission with the Space Makers is to help people live better, happier lives by organizing their spaces. So this is genuinely how we feel when we get to organize. We absolutely love it. A little plug, we also organize Christmas decorations. But yeah, if you have us in your space and you open the door to the garage and it's a crazy disaster, you'll see two faces very similar to that staring back at you. So we absolutely love it. It's a total passion project. Yeah, so 2020, we'll just touch on this quickly. Bit of a dumpster fire situation. These are some of kind of the key words that we thought of when we kind of thought of the year, and it's been overwhelming. We're in a pandemic. People have family worries. There's fear, there's stress, frustration, unexpected changes, and most importantly was a lack of control. We think is one of the key things here this year that's been difficult. But what to do? What can we do? And what we can do is we can control the things that we can control. We can focus on that. So we can control the stuff in our homes. We can, even if it seems like we can't. So when you think of the stuff in your house, maybe you feel overwhelmed. Maybe there are more things than you have the space for. Maybe there's things that you can't reach or access or are really annoying to get to. Maybe you're preparing for a new phase. Maybe you're preparing to move, upsize, downsize. Maybe there's other people's belongings in your space. I know my parents have dealt with this, with having my stuff still in their house years after I've moved out. And they've actually been really good. They're in Ontario, and I'm over here in BC, and my dad will even just send me a text of a picture of it. Can I get rid of this? Is it going? And so they're working through the kids' stuff one by one. But that's sometimes something you have to deal with. Other people's, not your own stuff, but a little of other people's stuff in your house, right? So that can be difficult. Maybe you can't find things, and that can lead to overbuying, which we don't want. And maybe you're just calling it an organized mess, but maybe you won't by the end of this little webinar here. So So why get organized? So there is a proven calming effect in your brain. And a similar thing happens when you look at, for instance, a really busy city landscape. There's lots of different things going on for your brain to unscramble and work really hard at. Whereas, you know, the ocean landscape, it's all kind of monolithic and it does scientifically provide a calming effect in your brain. And so a similar thing can happen when we organize our space, and when we're in a space and there's lots going on and lots of things. When we remove that, it can really have benefits. And why else should I get organized? To take back control. So it's an actionable item, and it's an action that you can do to regain some control. It also can give you back time. So we love this little stat. So an average office employee or office worker spends 1.5 hours a day looking for things that are on their desk. And that adds up to 6 weeks a year of just looking for things. So it really does equate to time, and time is money. So it's really a beneficial thing to do. It can give you more pride in your home. We don't tote like minimalism unless it really works for you, but we're all about just keeping what you love, right? And having things that you love in your house. And so if you cut through all the other stuff and really get down to just the things that are meaningful to you, it can give you more pride in your home. And then you should also get organized if you're preparing for a move. So upsizing, downsizing, relocating. We don't want you to move stuff that you don't need or want. That incurs more fees as well. So, you know, declutter before you're going to do these moves. And most importantly, it's very satisfying. Organizing is just super, super satisfying. Before and afters are fun, and it feels good. When should I get organized? Now. Now is the answer. So you should get organized now. You should especially get organized now if you're planning on moving, and you should especially get organized now if you're going to downsize. Moving can be overwhelming, especially if we all accumulate stuff. So you're going to need to make a plan for what you think will fit in the new home and prepare by decluttering before the move. So don't wait. Start now, even if it's like one little drawer at a time. And even if your move, maybe, you know, the upsize or the downsize, if that's just a dream at this point, it's in the dreaming phase, still start now, because it does take time. So how do I get organized? So we highly recommend starting small. Don't declutter your whole house. Declutter a room in your house, and don't even declutter a room in your house. Declutter a drawer of that room. Start bite-sized, start small, and eventually you'll work through to an organized house. So this is our process that we use, and we use this process for every single project, whether it's a little kitchen drawer or if it's a huge garage packed to the brim. We use this process. It's our Spacemakers patented process. It's not patented, but we came up with it and we like it and it's cute. So see it, sort it, save it, store it. So I'll go through these. But the first step of any organizing project, big or small, is you have to get excited. You are literally about to change your life for the better. You're taking action. So you should feel great about even wanting to do this. It's awesome. And always take a before picture. It's just so satisfying to look at the before and after. So always take a before picture. So see it. We remove all the belongings from the specific space that is being organized so that we can see what you have. It has to get worse before it gets better. We've all heard that before. If we're in a kitchen, you know, or a bedroom, everything comes out. If we're doing a closet, I know the closet is out on the bed. if we're doing a garage, everything's on a tarp in the front yard. Every single item comes out. So it's a big first step and maybe can be a little overwhelming, but if you do it this way, you're doing it the right way for sure. Sort it. So we sort through your belongings and we put like with like, so we can see how many of the same items you have, what kind of items you have. It's really hard to decide what stays and what goes if you don't sort things into their piles. So the sorting phase is always fun. And then save it. So this can be the most difficult part of organizing, determining what stays and what gets sent into orbit, as we like to say. So this can be an emotional step, deciding to get rid of things. We all hold emotion, and sometimes certain objects can really be quite sentimental. So we recommend having an impartial person to help you if you struggle with that. There's studies that show that even just having someone else touch the item, so hold it up, and if you're physically not touching it at all, it's easier and you're more likely to say, no, I don't need that. So we love the buddy system. So we definitely recommend that. But yeah, you're going to decide, are you keeping it, recycling it, selling it, donating it? Some things are at the end of their life cycle and can't be upcycled. Obviously, we try to divert as much as we can, but doesn't need to go to the garbage. And so that's really this step. Another part of this that ties in with our transitions theme is when you're upsizing or downsizing. So you need to think about what is going to fit in the new space, especially if you're downsizing. So that will also be a deciding factor when you're going through the save it phase to decide what stays and what goes. And you'll also, when you're going through sentimental items, you want to think about, ask yourself some questions. Does it serve a purpose? Do you love it? When was the last time you used it? So there are these questions and these are some of the things that we'll ask our clients when we're going through a space with them to try and decide whether they should stay or they should go. So this is a really important and sometimes difficult step. Store it. Labels everywhere. We love labels. Our little label machine is our best little buddy. So this is also a really, really important step because you don't want to, declutter is one thing, you go through all of your stuff, but to just throw it back in the closet or throw it back wherever is not going to help you stay organized. So the big thing with this phase is systems. So we're not just storing things, we're storing things systematically. So an extra thought here does go a long way, and it can take some trial and error. So something we always say is try before you buy. So instead of, if anyone here follows like the Home Edit, there's some of these other professional organizers out there, and like every job they do, it's all these beautiful acrylic containers and these amazing containers, but like $20, $30 a container. They're not cheap. So we always recommend when you're doing organizing, try it with like a cardboard box that you have or something else that you have in your house first. See if where that is going to work, and then if you really love it, then yeah, go treat yourself to some nice containers. But try before you buy. We like putting labels on everything. Labels always help keep things in systems. What else? Yeah, so some other examples of systems. You want to keep the most used items closest to reach. Also, having an empty container for damaged clothes or donate clothes right in your closet really helps with the system of keeping everything organized. Another example would be side-by-side labeled containers for new and used batteries. Right, so when the used one is full, you can recycle it, and when the new one is empty, you need to go get new batteries. So it's taking kind of the thinking and guesswork out of day-to-day stuff. So if you can store things back with a system, it's even that much more valuable to get organized in this way. And we touched on this a little bit, but keep it bite-sized. So we recommend, if you're getting organized at home, 25-minute intervals are great. If you start in on a project or start in on a closet or a pantry or whatever, set a timer, work at it for 25 minutes. When that's up, move on to something else, unless you're really stoked about it and excited. But 25 minutes is a nice little chunk where you can see a little bit of progress, but you're not overwhelmed or get annoyed with the project. So we like that for if you're just working by yourself at home on an organizing project. For the space makers, we work in pairs. So it's always 2 organizers coming to the job, and we do a 3-hour chunk of time. So we find that the 3 hours is perfect because we can see a ton of progress in 3 hours. It's amazing with 2 organizers. But anything more than that, and everyone ends up burnt out. We're too tired, we lose steam, you lose steam, and then nobody's excited to keep working on the project. So we do 3-hour chunks, and at the end of that, hopefully either the client is now, we've done enough to motivate them and get them started, they can carry on, or call us back for another 3-hour chunk, and they can see that progress again. So always keep it bite-sized. Eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? Okay, so this is kind of a fun part. So challenge, this is a little challenge we have for everyone watching. So we challenge you to, not a duel, but we challenge you to get organized. So take a look around your room that you're sitting in right now. Take a peek. Okay. Is there a pile, a stack, a mess, or a nest, hopefully not an actual nest, because then we have some other problems, of any loose objects? And I will say that I do not have any insight in this room, but I know there's one in that inside that closet. I know there's a pile in that closet over there. So your challenge, within the next 24 hours, go through that pile. Now, it doesn't have to be like your whole closet. Like, pick one little pile that you can do in a roughly 25-minute chunk of time. So it can be small. And what you're going to do, you're going to take that pile and you're going to remove items that are garbage, recycle, or give away. And once you've done that, you look at what you're left with. Maybe nothing. Maybe it was just a pile of stuff that you really had to get rid of. But maybe there are items that either have a home already and they need to go back to their other little pen buddies or whatever it is in their pen home. Or maybe it's an item that you have a few of around the house, but it doesn't have a home yet. And so you can make it a dedicated space for those things to live. So we're going to participate too. So we'll let you know how we did on our social media. And then, if you do the challenge, send us a message of what you did and how it went. So that is a challenge. One little pile. That's what this all is all about, is just bite size, one little thing at a time. And if you get started, that's half the battle for sure. So why hire us? Only the space makers are my only hope. If you're not into sci-fi, I'm sorry. We're into it. Shamelessly. So you might hire us if you're overwhelmed. If it's really just gotten to a point where you are completely overwhelmed, we can help get you started. Or if you're overwhelmed and you don't even want to think about it at all, we will do huge projects, whatever you need. But people that are overwhelmed will tend to give us a call. You might have physical limitations. It is quite physical, the lifting and reaching and all of that. So there might be a limitation there. Time limitations is a big thing for everyone these days. It really is a time-consuming thing if you're going to do it right. And so, we just did a job for a family. Both had full-time jobs and they have their own business on the side and 2 kids, and they really needed this space organized, and they just didn't have time. And or they did, but they wanted to go camping with their kids and like enjoy their time together instead of organizing the side room that they didn't even want to look at. So in 3 hours, we came in, we totally organized the whole space, and they got to go camping and came back and it was all organized. So time is really valuable. We also have virtual sessions. So especially with COVID, it's kind of a way that we can provide our services without being in the home. I'll talk a little bit about that after this slide. And then, yeah, someone might also hire us for moves, moving in, moving out. So when you are moving out or preparing to move out or preparing to sell your house, this is an amazing time to declutter. If your space is decluttered, it's going to sell better, and you can talk to that more than I can, but if you can remove that clutter, it's going to look better. But also you're doing that process of getting rid of stuff that you don't need before you move, before you pay people to lift it and move it and lift it, get rid of it now. And then we can also help on the move-in to get you organized in your new space with systems right off the bat. So that's a great time to get organized. And then just a little fact, 1% of our profits go to local charities. So that's all listed on our website. So you can check that out if you're interested. Okay, so here's just some before and afters because they're just so fun. So this is a closet that we did. It's a bit of a mess. We loved it. And this after we'll just look at it because it makes our heart happy. And then here's some organization for some cables that this is mine. I'll own up to this. I own this. So, and then this is the after. So this container actually is supposed to be used for photos, organizing your photos, but it works great for electronics. So that was a really fun one. And then this one is actually this was a virtual client. So we've never even entered the space, but we gave her a virtual guide. She did all the work, and this was the final result, and it turned out just great. So it's absolutely beautiful. And this is a really fun garage one. We love a carport for a garage. See after there. So this is kind of just to show you quickly here an example of our virtual guide. So you get we do this really cool overlay where we talk with you back and forth about what decluttering and then what you end up with, and then we give you a plan to organize it back. So all of these, it's really interactive. All of these, you can click on them and it takes you right to the link for a recommended product that fits right perfectly in that space. So that's some of the stuff that we can do virtually to help you get organized. We have a Christmas promotion. So through December, you get 30% off our gift cards. They make a great gift. Don't offend anyone by giving them an organizing gift, but they can make a great gift. And then anyone on this call, we'll honor this 30%. We're still in November for a little bit here. In closing, you can do it if you believe. False. You can do it if you do it. And we believe you can do it, even if it's a tiny little 25-minute chunk. Just start there and you'll be well on your way. Thank you to Ian. Ian, you were one of our first ever supporters on this cool little journey that we're on.
Yeah, you bet.
We love working with you, and your team is awesome. So it's been really fun. Thank you for putting this together. And thanks to everyone on the call. Thanks for joining us. It's easy to, just throw on Netflix, but this is something a little different. So thanks for coming out. And we will have a draw after Ian's portion for 3 free organizing hours with us that you can give as a gift yourself. Doesn't expire. So yeah, and if you have any questions, you can drop them in.
Yeah, you drop in the chat room now.
Yeah, or afterwards, feel free to reach out. We're on all the social medias. If you found this, you'll find us anywhere.
Yeah, you'll find them. They're around. They're around.
Yeah.
That was great, Sam.
Oh, thanks.
So, one of the things I wanted to mention was I just think that everything you do is so terrific. And the part about looking around my office right now, don't want to get into that. There's more than one pile of things that need help with, but the fact that when you move into a house, I mean, lots of us, you move into a house and there's big boxes everywhere, but I like the fact where you come in and get people unpacked. I mean, you initially you think, well, this is about getting ready to move and decluttering, etc. But getting set up in the beginning, that's just fantastic. I love that.
Yes. What a better way to start your new, it is a new beginning. The title is Transitions. It is a transition into a new beginning when you move into a new place, and why not start off on the best foot possible and have your stuff work for you and save you time and so much down the long run. So it's a good time to get organized for sure.
Now, of course, a lot of us haven't done this before. So is 3 hours enough? I mean, 6 is better, 9's super, but is 3, talk about that. Why 3 hours?
Yeah, well, 3, again, like after 3, we're pretty pooped because we work, like when we get in there, I think it's just so exciting to like start from the mess, and we want to see the results just as much as you do. So in 3 hours, we leave. Every time we've done a 3-hour session, we leave and we are super excited, and the client is super excited because it is enough time to see results. It really depends on the person, right? And if someone is really if there's not that emotional attachment, we can get through even more. If it's a lot of like discussion and working through stuff, it will take a little bit longer. But a 3-hour session we always get an amazing before and after, guaranteed in a 3-hour session. There's 2 of us, and we're working the full time,
right,
the entire time. So we really rip through stuff, and it's different than organizing for yourself, because you get a phone call, and then you do this, and then you get a snack, and it's dedicated, specific time to get the task done. So it's we like the 3-hour chunks for sure, at least as a starting point, and then you can see where we get to, and if you want more, we're happy to come back. But maybe that 3 hours is enough to get you on the right foot.
Yeah. I think I have one more question. If anybody else has any questions, just pop in the chat room there and I'll ask them of Sam. I thought the part about where the person is sitting in a chair and here's a poster from a concert you went to in 1981. Why do you still have this? Or
Van Halen, maybe.
Yeah, but there you go. Maybe not. Well, you want to keep that one now. But,
yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, having that other person there.
So it's
really
the detached part of, I don't have any emotion. This is just a cup with a logo. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
It makes it easier for people to.
Yeah, the fact that you're not holding the thing is proven to be enough to really make a difference on whether, okay, that's got to go, or but I really like it, So that separation is really key, especially if you find you're very sentimental about a lot of things and have a hard time letting go of certain things. Yeah, not to say that we're not there to try and talk you into getting rid of everything. Again, like minimalism is not for everyone.
No.
If you love it, keep it, display it, whatever. But it's like when you love every single thing, it's hard to really appreciate the things that you really, really do like. So we just try and help you suss out what you really, really do like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was great, Sam. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Really good. So if you want to stop sharing your screen, then I'll get mine up here somewhere. Here we go. Well, that was great. All right, now we're going to start talking about how's this working, Sam? Can you see that?
Good.
Awesome. Okay. So now we're going to talk about real estate. This is who I am. I'm a certified negotiation expert at RE/MAX of Nanaimo. And I want to talk about transitions, why we have transitions, what's going on. And first of all, I always start with how is the market, right? What's going on in the real estate market? The word here is busy. And busy is sort of not really the right word. It should be on fire. Like it's just very, very busy. We haven't seen it this busy in a long time. And here's single family numbers detached just for the month of October as an example here. So this year we sold 156 houses. Last year we sold 102. So 53% more homes sold. The average price is up 15%. But the big thing is the number of listings. Like overall, only about 210 homes for sale. And last year, 345. So 40% fewer listings with 53% more people trying to get those fewer listings, which can only mean multiple offers. And I wrote down between 500 and 700,000. Our average price is 629. So anything under 629, virtually guaranteed to be in multiple offers. And I have 5 things you can do to increase your odds of winning in multiple offers. I'm going to be talking about that in a few minutes, but this is why. And I was talking to another agent today at the office, and now we're getting multiple offers in homes that are 8, 9, and $1 million. And it wasn't that long ago where if you had $1 million house, you were happy to get a showing, right? Let alone an offer. But all that's changed now. And so the next thing is why is that happening? Why are people thinking of making a change? So this is the research that we found, and we think it's going to continue on into 2021. And that is a bigger yard. With COVID, it's hard to get away and not talk about COVID, isn't it? I mean, it's just everything seems to relate to that, and we want a bigger yard. I've had people in my own practice this year who, downsized to a townhome. Great story. This couple, they're having a great time there, and then after 3 or 4 months of staring at each other in 1,000 square feet, they're like, "Wait a minute now, I like you. I'm not sure I want you this close. Can't you get out a little bit?" So they sold their house or the townhouse and bought a house because it has a yard again. So there's a whole pendulum of going, now I want to get outside, and where am I going to go outside? Because I don't want to go to a park, there's people there, right? I want to be my own space where I can do my own thing. So that's one of the reasons that we're having people move this year. The other one is a larger, newer kitchen. Never before have we cooked so much. We've cooked at home. We've tried cooking. If we didn't know how to cook, we've learned how to cook. Sometimes not with great success, but nonetheless, we want a better kitchen. We want new cupboards. We want granite countertops. We want more space. We're just home more often. So that's the second one. The third one is a home office, right? Who goes to work anymore? It's just, we do, but we're at home. Here I am in my home office here, and we have plans to renovate this office because it's just, clearly this is going to be the norm more and more, where maybe we'll go to work half time. Maybe we just won't go to work every day the way we did before. And, if you're in a small house and you were planning on going to work now, for the first 2 or 3 months of COVID, it was kind of fun to sit at the dining room table and do some work. But, 8, 9, 10 months of sitting at the end of the dining room table, after a while, that just gets old. And you think, I have to do something different than that. And here's another one too, secondary suite. This is becoming more and more of an idea that perhaps has happened around the world that hasn't happened in Canada. If you think about Canadians, typically at a certain age, you live in a house, and then at a certain age, you go and live over there in this retirement home. But COVID has said that we know that a big majority of the people that are in trouble with COVID are living in retirement homes. And so there are families thinking, hey, why would I spend $4,000, $5,000 a month to live in a retirement home? I could give one of my kids half of that, $2,000. Together, we would buy a house. And it's got a secondary suite. It's ground level entrance. I can walk out to a little yard. I can see my grandkids. It just works. Like there's just more of a together sort of a family thing. Our bubble is small. I get to see everybody. And so this is becoming more of what people want, which is a suite. They want a suite in their house, and either it's for income or for people to live there. And here's the last one. Well, it turns out that more people are wanting to get divorced. Whoops. Geez, it's nice to be home, but turns out this is too much being home, and I'd rather be somewhere else. So lawyers are talking about the increase of calls from people saying, hey, I want to do something on my own now. And so that's another reason that's driving that market. When I talked about the demand, and especially the demand to get out of larger parts of the country and into secondary markets like Nanaimo, like Kelowna. And it's happening all over Canada, where we're seeing people because now we know we can work at home. I don't need to go into the office. And, you know, if you live in Nanaimo, $629,000 can seem like a lot of money for an average price. But if you're from Toronto or Vancouver, you know, for $629,000, you don't get very much in Vancouver. I've had buyers come here, and these are this year, I mean, terrific folks, well-paying jobs. They came from a condo in Vancouver, and we were looking at a house, and they were standing in the kitchen, and they were going, oh, they were just amazed. And I'm thinking, why are these people so amazed? And they're amazed because it's big. It's a big kitchen. Like if you're in a little condo in Vancouver, downtown Vancouver, it's nice, it's convenient stuff, but you know, the fridge is small, the cupboards are small, things that we take for granted when you're here living in a not a major market where you have more space. A lot of people want that now. So that's another driver of what's driving the people to come to secondary markets. Okay, so I'm going to go through a few things here. These are some of the questions I get. You know, how to pick a realtor to represent you. So let's just say you've decided that it's time for me to sell my house and I want to make a change. So I wrote down 3 things here to think about. Number 1 is ask your friends for a referral. Who did they use? You know, were they happy with that person? What kind of things did they do? And number 2, when meeting with realtors, ask them about the technology they use, right? It's all about mobile today. Everybody's on their phones. We all have one of these, and everything just has to be there. Floor plans have to be there. Videos have to be there because that's where we all live our lives on there. And number 3, this is a good one. Ask a realtor to describe a situation where something went wrong and how did they handle it? You know, I've got this down here. Anyone can sail a ship in calm waters, but when the water gets choppy, right, you need a steady hand to go, hey, wait a minute now, this is what we need to do. An example for myself this year, I had a home listed that had 4 accepted offers and they all collapsed. They all collapsed. And as a homeowner, that can be pretty much devastating, right? If you're like, dude, what's the matter with my house? It turns out there was a crack in the foundation. And we had to get a structural engineer to come and look at the house, to give us a letter to say that, no, it's not falling off and going to fall into the water. It's okay. You know what I mean? Some cracks are just there from 30 years ago. They haven't moved any. So, but that's just an example about, you know, what do we have to do to get a home sold? It's always easy, right, when there's nothing going on. But it's important that you ask these kind of questions. And here's another thing I put down here is select a realtor first and then together set the asking price, right? So you don't want to pick a realtor just because they said your house is worth 800 when it's really 700, right? You want to get the realtor you're comfortable with, and then together you can set the asking price on that, okay? So if you have any questions, put that in the chat room down there, and I will go to the next one here. So here's setting the asking price. This is always a fun slide. I like this one. Everybody sees their home with a different value, right? So this is your lender. They think that you have, you know, a nice house, modest house. They're going to lend you the money for that. And this is how you see it. No, it's way better than that. I need more money. My house is bigger. It's better. This is the buyer. The buyer thinks, well, that's actually like a cottage. It's not really anywhere near what you think it is. And of course, the bank appraiser thinks it's falling off a cliff. And no, you can't have a mortgage that high. But the city, the city of Nanaimo thinks you live in a castle. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to get some more money from you for taxes. So setting the asking price, it depends on who you are, right? And what you're looking at. So here's top 3 things to consider when you want to set the asking price of your house. Number 1, what did comparable homes sell for? You always compare what's sold rather than what's currently listed, right? People can ask whatever they want for a house, but we want to know what's actually sold. You know, a seller can set the asking price, but the buyers are the ones that are actually determining market value because they're saying, hey, your house is listed for 700, but we're offering 650 or 625, whatever that number is. And if enough people say that, then, you know, that's maybe what the value is. Here's another good point. Buyers won't pay more money to help you move to a more expensive city. So the fact that you're moving to Richmond, right, where houses are $1.5 million, doesn't mean that someone's going to pay you extra to help you move there. That's not how it works, right? And if you think about it the other way, if you were moving from Nanaimo, where the average is 625, to Moose Jaw, where the average is 325, you're not going to sell your house for less money, right? All you're going to sell your house for is market value. So you want to keep them on that. And no amount of advertising is going to sell an overpriced home. So we want to make sure that you're in the range, right? You're in the range of what market value is. And that's what we do to help you decide that. All right, getting your home ready to sell. What do you need to do? I always talk about being ready to invest 1 to 2% of your asking price in some kind of improvements. So let's just say you're asking $600,000 for your house. So 1%, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. How could you spend $6,000 or $7,000 on your house? Now, initially, you'd rather spend nothing, but at the end of the day, landscaping, number one, I always have as first impressions. You know, when people are driving up, they have options. It's pretty easy to spend $2,000 or $3,000 on landscaping. I always say bark mulch is your friend, right? You want to have it look good in the front yard. You want to paint where it needs to be done. You want to replace the carpet. All these things can easily add up to $5,000 or $6,000. And hire a handyman. If you don't know one, I know one, 2 of them that are very good to fix all those small things as homeowners we put up with. We just do when we're in a house, don't we? I have a little squeaky door, or this doesn't open very well, or the tap leaks a little bit. Number one lock to fix is the front door lock, because buyers are making decisions right away. And if we can't even get the key in the door, right, and we're pulling on the door and it won't open right away, buyers are making decisions. It's funny how we form opinions quickly. And oftentimes they're wrong, but they're hard to shake once those are done. So if I pull up and the landscaping doesn't look like it's that great, and it's having a hard time opening the door, and the first piece of carpet I see is ripped a little bit, I've already got 3 strikes against your house, and I'm hardly been there 2 minutes. And we do find that many people make decisions on a house in the first 5 minutes or less. Lots of times it's 3 minutes. It's just a feeling that we get when we walk into a house. You think, I could live here, or you know what, this house isn't for me. So that's why those first impressions are always so important. Okay, home buying tips. Let's start with this one. Let's say you want to be buying a home. Number one is talk to a mortgage advisor. That has to be your number one thing. Everything else is secondary. If the money doesn't work, then it just doesn't matter about everything else. And make sure you complete your application. And that has to be more than just doing it online, right? You actually have to go in, see someone, and tell them your whole story. Hey, if you've got $800 truck payment, or you have alimony payments or child support or whatever it is, all that's going to impact your borrowing power. And it's very frustrating for everybody to be in the middle of your subject removal period and the mortgage person says, oh, geez, you didn't tell me that this is actually going on in your life. That's going to impact whether you can actually buy a house or not. Make sure all your documentation is together, T4 slips, and get a pre-approval letter. This will help up in multiple offer situations. The seller will feel more confident that you're the right buyer. So pretty much any financial institution will give you a letter that says, hey, Ian and Carol are qualified to this amount. Remember, there's always 2 things that are being qualified by the bank. It's you and what you're buying. So you still have to do financing as a condition, because an appraisal will want to be done for to make sure the house, because if you defaulted, of course, the bank gets the house back and they want to make sure they're not getting something that's a problem, right? Okay, next up, home buying tips. Be an educated buyer. Make sure your realtor provides a background on today's market so you know what to expect. And this is so important in Nanaimo right now. It's not unusual for us to have 5 or 6 or 7 offers on a house at the same time. This is becoming normal. It used to be unique. We used to talk about it a lot, like, you know, you go to Vegas and win, so you tell everybody. But now multiple offers are just, oh, another day of I'm competing against 6 or 7 offers. So if you don't know that, it can be quite frustrating when you do find a house that you like. Make sure you get set up to see all the new listings at the same time that your agent does, and get your team together now. Talk to a lawyer or a notary. You know, we've had times this year where it wasn't possible to get a lawyer or a notary to do the completion on your house because they're booked. Like, they're sold out. They're not taking any more people, which is, again, another unusual thing when you think of, wouldn't somebody be able to complete my house? But if they're all booked up for space, then they can't do it. And of course, be ready to act quickly. you know, this is the education part about being a buyer. It's like a funnel, and we're going to see the houses. Remember, there's only, let's say there's 200 for sale. If you narrow it down, there's probably going to be maybe 2 or 3 that are in your wheelhouse to see. And once you've seen those, then you're waiting, right? And so the next time your realtor phones, you have to be able to act quickly and say, okay, let's get going. We've got all these things done. Okay. Okay, how to increase your chances of winning in multiple offer situation. I put down these 5 points because it's happening so much. I like to help people out as much as we can. Number 1 is considering offering 5% over asking price. Okay, so let's use our example of 600,000. I've got a story to tell today where even this didn't work. So this isn't an exact thing, but it's an idea to help you think about it. So if the house is $600,000, 5% over would be offering $630,000. Now today, there was a house in Cedar that just came on the system as being sold that was listed for $599 and sold for $640,000. So even this didn't help the person get that. I think they had 6 or 7 offers, but you want to be understanding the difference, and this is important too, the difference between fair market value and a free market. A fair market value says my neighbor's house sold for 600, the market's gone up 3%. So that means it must be 618 value. That's fair market value. A free market says I've lost out 3 times in multiple offers and I want my kids to go to this school and I'm going to stay here 10 years. It doesn't matter. I mean, if I ask somebody 10 years from now, did you pay 618 for your house or 625? Most people can't remember, right? So those people will pay more than that, more than fair market. That's called a free market. And that's what the tough part is competing in that deposit. Okay, that's the second. My second point is raise the amount of your deposit to 5% of the price. This is standard in Vancouver, but it's not in Nanaimo. Now, under contract law, you really don't need any deposit, but it's a way to stand out. Again, when you think of competing on 600,000, that would be like a $30,000 down payment. And that's a deposit, right? The deposit forms part of the purchase price. So it's going to be part of your price anyways. But if you're a homeowner and I'm looking at offers that are pretty much the same and one person's offering $5,000, the other one's putting $25,000 or $30,000, now the seller feels more comfortable. And that's what you want to do. You want the seller to feel comfortable with your offer. Number 3 is try and have as few conditions as possible. Now, I always recommend a house inspection. I don't know the house. No realtor knows the house. So that's not something I recommend that you do. I think financing should be a condition, insurance, everything else you should be able to do in advance. We often get the title in advance. We get the survey, we get a property disclosure statement. So we don't need to have those as subjects or conditions. And the fewer of those we have, the better. The 4th thing is be flexible on the completion date if possible. That's important because the seller might not want to move till February or March. Now we're finding to see that. So if you want it in December, you're right away, you're at odds with them. So you want to find out in advance and try and be flexible. And number 5, don't ask for personal belongings of the seller to be included. Remember, you're buying a house, you're not shopping at the Bay, right? I love that because, you know, if you go into a house and some people will say, well, I want that dining room set to come with the house, but that could have been a gift from the seller's parents and it's a family heirloom or it's who knows. And now the seller like, well, you know, they can't have my grandma's dining room table. Why would they want that? And now they're not happy with you. So don't ask for things, fridge, stove, washer and dryer. Those are the standard things, right? They come with most houses, but stay away from. So those 5 tips will help you increase the odds of winning in a multiple offer situation, right? And there you go. How was that? Is that good? Any questions now? Do I have any questions from anybody? Anybody want to chip in here? If you want to unmute yourself, you can go ahead and we can make the draw perhaps while you want to make the draw? Yeah. There you go. Did I unmute you?
There we go. Perfect.
Okay.
Great. That was great, Ian. Very, very good. So what a wild market.
Yeah, I'll say it's, I said it's not for the faint of heart,
No,
right? Being a
absolutely
buyer
not.
today. And it doesn't mean it's not possible, but you
Yeah.
want to go prepared and you want to get ready that it might be a rocky ride. And I call it an adventure. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to rent for a while and then you have trouble finding a short-term rental. We talked about that earlier. We have some folks coming from out of town looking for a short-term rental. So if you have a
Yeah.
short-term rental, tell me, because I have somebody who's looking, who is going to need that, I think, for 2 or 3 months
Yeah.
perhaps. But those are
Well,
hard.
it's good to have someone on your side, right? And someone you can talk through and confide in. So I think you're just a great person to be on that wild ride with, going through all that.
Yeah, we're in it together. So let's strap in together. Here we go.
Yeah,
Right?
make
Yeah.
the best of it, right?
Uh-huh. So we're going to make a draw, aren't we?
Yes, yes. So, oh, we've got a question here. Is there any recording and replay of it?
Yes, I did record it. And yeah, we can talk about, I'm sure I'll post it somewhere in one of my channels here, but yes, it will be. It was recorded and I'm happy to share it.
Okay, perfect. That's great. Yeah, so I've got all the names of everyone that participated here. So Ian, if you could pick a random number between 1 and 15, that would be
We had
great.
15 people today. How cool is that? Well, thanks everybody for coming. I'm going to pick the number 5 because that was my
5
thing tonight.
is Allie Hobbs.
Hey.
Allie Hobbs.
Where's Allie? Are you on the call here still? Are you still here, Allie?
Allie.
Oh, awesome.
I think she's still here.
All right. Well, should make sure we get, and of course, the prize is 3 hours of Space Makers time. And how cool is that? Thank you for
3 hours. Yeah. So we'll, if she can, well, I'll send a message out on our social media. Let her know that she won, and then she can get in touch with us for that prize.
Yeah. Hang on, we might have another question here.
Yeah,
If you want to have questions, you'll feel free to fire away.
Please.
Because we're done the formal part, but we're happy to hang in here. And
thanks for joining, everyone who joined.
If you don't, that's okay too. If you have to go, no worries.
Yeah.
That's why we kept it to an hour, because we're all busy, aren't we? All good. There we go. Okay. Well, if we haven't got any questions, that's fine. Thank you for joining us tonight. Oh, maybe one's coming in here. What's this chat say? Oh, just thank you, my friend Bob. You betcha. Okay. Anyways, there you are. Oh, and one more thing, a plug for my new podcast. I'm excited about a new podcast. I forgot to mention that. If you haven't listened,
yeah.
I have a podcast called Your Longest Life. It's about living to 100. It's kind of something that I've got in my mind lately. Anyways, I'm interviewing a whole bunch of cool people about what it's like to live to 100 and how to live to 100. I just did one last week with a lady who's written a book about how to live to 100. She's a Canadian who lives in Paris. Fascinating person. Marta is her name. Anyways, she talks about the soft skills of living to 100, about compassion and volunteering being as important or more important than what you eat. Right? We're all fixated on, how much lettuce can you eat a day, et cetera, right? Which is maybe that's probably good too, but her book is a fascinating thing. But anyway, it's called Your Longest Life. You can find it wherever you find podcasts, and maybe you might like that. You might have some tips for me. So I thought I'd put that out there. I just started that. I've got about 10 episodes so far.
That's
there
great.
We go. All right. Well, we'll sign off for the night. There we are, 7 o'clock. Thanks, everybody.
Great.
We'll see you
Thanks
later.
so much, Ian.
All right. Have a good night.
See you next time.